Hey, what is going on? It's your boy Slavo cracking the code. Worries, anxiety, fear, and depression interfere with the normal function of your heart, lungs, stomach, and intestine. The medical authority just begin appreciate how serious so-called stress-related diseases are. The reason is that those patterns of thoughts interfere with the harmonious function of your subconscious mind. When you feel uh, physically and emotionally or mentally disturbed, the best is what you can do is to let it go, relax, and still your patterns of thoughts. Speak to your subconscious, tell it to take it over. In peace, harmony, and divine order, you will see that all the function of your body will become normal again. Be sure to speak to your subconscious with authority and conviction, and it will respond in carrying out your command. So you see how amazing it was that two sentences that you have absolutely the power through your affirmation, reinforcement, and repetition. That's why this incredible sentence from, I think, is Aristotle. Excellence, it is not a mere act, but a habit. So when you develop this habit of repetition, reinforcement, affirmation of positive thoughts, affirm the good and the bad will vanish. That's how amazingly you influence your life. It's like me initially when I never ran, but on March 2019, 3 months before marathon, I pick up an idea of take a part in Ironman, and I was inspired by Brian Rose. I have mixed his name and surname in other video. Brian Rose from London Real, amazing guy who influenced so many people around the world and who create that podcast and motivational kind of inspirational channel where he interviews so much people. So I refer that to him. That is absolutely incredible person. He inspired me to do what he was inspired to do himself by other musician artist who was taking part in every year Ironman marathon, and he invited him to New York, back to his place where he used to live, and he was a banker. They make an incredible video back to rewind the history of his past and how to chase the demon in preparation, his own demons in to use them actually to prepare yourself for this tough marathon, because you really need to have an extra strength to not give up just after the first or second or third or fourth day, because it is actually easy. If you don't have strong firm reason, you're going to be feeling like want to give up, puke, and let go all your valves upon time when you're doing it, because I can understand if you take up something like that and you prepare yourself within 1 year or 2 years, you still have to have strong conviction to develop these habits, and without any strong motivation to actually go all the way. But you have much more chance to prepare yourself for 2 years to do that become in better shape than 3 months. 3 months you really have to put yourself into high demand and at high performance right away to start run long distances very quick. And especially if you never run long distance, or never cycle, never swim, even you can't even swim long distance, then you have so big challenge before you. So going back to that we can influence our life, and when we develop these incredible habits and when we are properly motivated, that's why motivation is great. Motivation is absolutely amazing, but when you pick up the ideas, you have to act on it. Because the idea is when you ponder and when you look for ideas or listen your spirit, the ideas will come. You just need to pick up and act on it. That's why the Tony Robbins says that you have to take a massive action in order to be successful, not just thinking. That's why I say in some video about the science of being well composed two forms, thoughts and action. It is not enough for the man to only think certain way. He must express his thoughts in his outer life and act the same way as he think. So breaking this down again, it's like it is not enough to think positive, but to take an action when you want to lose the weight, or if you want to take a part in marathon and actually have a chance to complete. You have to prepare yourself. You have to think positive, you have to believe, you have to expect, you have to act, even if the condition and situation tells you, like in my case, my knees was hurting me after 3 kilometers so often, few times in a row, that I literally was forced to give up. But at some point I forced myself and I decided to push forward. It was incredibly tough to actually do it. This was up against my situation and health and condition, but I decided to force and think to myself. The pain was real. It was totally real, but I had inner conversation upon running and thinking to myself, is that because of the feelings every day? Like you feel like it is a really tough challenge, mentally and physical, that you really want to give up. And the talk was to myself, do you have those conditions because and express itself through pain, because it is health, thoughts and physical and emotional pain, and that's why you're expressing it. But I know, no, it was not just that. I know my leg is shorter 2.5 centimeters, so I know the pain was legitimate. And you know, it is mechanical fault. If in car, if you fit a parts, let's for example, and any machine, if the parts are unwoven, it will break and it will, of course, will not fix itself. But I only knew the amazing design of body, and through belief and through proper approach of eating and mastery of science of health, and knowing what to eat, what to not to eat, and how to discipline yourself to keep yourself mentally also in the level to expect that the body will heal itself very quickly when you give the right fuel. And it does, even if there is agony in a back pain, if in my knee, but it was recovering pretty quick. I had one time when I forced myself, and one day was 3 kilometers and I gave up, next day 3 kilometers and caught me again to give up, but I forced it and I did my record 16 kilometers, and I was done. For 1 week I could not train because my knee was hurting so much, and I knew, no, you cannot do it. So 1 week, and then I was back on running, no such a long distance for 2 months. I only did the record 21 kilometers just 2 days before Ironman marathon, and that was risky. That was kind of, someone would say, stupid, but again, in 2 days I recovered and I was good. I was absolutely good. So it was phenomenal because I expected, and I infused my thoughts into believing that infinitive intelligence that gave me this body, gave me this desire, and knowing through so many books I've read that I can cure myself, that through my expectation, through my right action, through mental and emotional, physical action, and appraising this magnificent body that can drive me from, since when I'm born, to 100, possibly. That's the capacity we have, or even more, but on average 70, 80, 90, something like that in between, that we have this capacity. So it's up to us what we're doing. So that's why my inspiration and motivation is to share with everybody that it is worth it to develop a healthy habit, spiritual, mental, and emotional. Because instead of going to the church, like some people believe, into religion, and religion actually turn your attention to on the outside source to praise something that you don't even see, that God, the invisible. And I have nothing against that, because I believe in incredible power which create this universe and gather through a law of nature this planet, and how amazing is abundance, harmony, and order, without which one would not be alive. The sunshine would not be for every day available for us through the day, the moon, the night, pattern of sleeping, the gas for breath, oxygen, and for the plants, and the plants, so much of them, and the fruits and the animals, and the life people approach. Like normally they are, if they are not wrongly programmed, they are lovable and wishing to others all the best, and they want to thrive and they want to have a good life, and they if they not wrongly programmed to school, media, social programs, or conditioned environment around them, from depend where they are, whatever parents say and teachers and stuff like that. We know that there are people are born into different conditions and they have different programs, but 100 years back there were, you will know what I mean. Everything what I say, it totally matters to reflect on the past history, on the current observation, use your mental faculties, and use your filters, your incredible antivirus, your mind, to digest and to literally use your mind like antivirus, and through the process of proper thinking, extract and eliminate the right stuff, to see what successful people doing, what sport athletes are doing, and to eliminate the things that not working for us. For example, is like, we know for the fact what is good through, for me especially, reading books like How to Cure Yourself from the Cancer, Alzheimer, and all sorts of disease, how to cleanse your liver. That was years ago. I discovered that the people who wrote those books encounter incredible health problems, condition, and they were able through experiments cure themselves. So that's why my motivation is to examine life from every angle, from every situation, from the history, from the book, from what people say, from what you experience, from what you know, from what you hear, from opinions of others and stuff like that, and make your own conclusion basically on the good materials. So it is incredible and worth it to develop habit that can serve you through your life process, and the life become much more easy and better if we develop the right habits. If you develop right habits, healthy, and if you avoid alcohol, smoking, drugs, and all kind of abusive stuff that's not serve you to your temple, and you don't have to go to the church, especially if they actually turn your attention to some outside source instead of teach you what is the most relevant, that life happened for you, not to you, like a disaster or consequences of something. Yes, consequences of something, but it's happened for you. So your attention should be developing, invest your time into yourself to find out who are you, why are you here, what are you supposed to be doing, and what is your purpose. Ask those big questions and to strive for answer, and you will get the answer directly connected with the source, and you can price then yourself, your incredible machine, your internal mechanism that you are able to cure disease. Your mechanism, your body, subconscious mind can do that, and it does regulate all the heart function, your mind, your lungs, your stomach, your intestine, and all the veins, assimilation and extraction. It is all important to be active partaker and not abuse your body, not to go to the church to pray, stuff like that, and believe into bogus religion that direct your attention to the something outside and particularly name it with Jesus, Mohammed, and something else. It is wrong. It is wrong because for thousands of years it was enslaving people, and it still does. People think they are free and they think themselves, when in truth, if they thinking like everybody else, that means that somebody is not thinking. And we know if you do, those people who experience religion and get themselves out of there because they've seen the limits, like in my case when my mom had a cancer and I knew how to cure her, and everybody say you are not a god, just pray for her, and I knew if I'm just going to pray and this incredible power give me this desire and information, allow me to cure myself from many diseases, and I knew it, that there were people who cured themselves and everybody else who was using chemotherapy, radiotherapy, and all those sources, or cutting out the tumor, they had the reverse and they died because you don't deal with the cause. And I wanted to deal with the cause because I knew I have to do it, because people in the hospitals and the doctors study the books, academic, which are created and promoted through pharmaceutical cartel, and they don't have, they only study raw, stupid data information that are useless to biological body human beings, which only need actually thinking correctly and eating right food, and then he used preventive medicine. But because people live certain life, they were programmed, and all people around the world believe in those bogus high price priests and doctors who have high level of diplomas, and people do not examine, they just they do the same thing, like going to the church and not asking question, just taking from the surface, and they go into the doctor and they just bowing there and they just listen what the doctor have to say, and he have the same solution for everybody. Only only gladly and thanks for the higher power of this universe that produce and create in the time of adversity, distress and failures, and so much disaster that so much people die in the world over this degenerative disease. Certain people waking up, and through their lifetime, the last 10-15 years, they develop the skills, information, and they sharing that with the people, and they writing the books. So you see, nature will never die, only stupid people will die, and that's why they dying, because they don't look for alternatives. An alternative is the true source. It's from Aborigines, it is from the Indians, it is the natural knowledge that is for free, it is available. People think that you have to pay for something a high value in order to be healthy, in order to have a good service. When in truth, the best things that you have in life is your mind, your family, your body, your health. Since you were born up to 28 and then you have a cancer, well, you don't have that just because of the genes. You develop it through your action, through your thinking. Actually, the most often people who have a cancer is the people who have resentment or hate toward others. And you know, it's been proved and developed and discovered through even Joe Dispenza or John Christopher. Look for it, because he had the cancer and he cured himself, and he discovered that, and I know my mom even, how she was, of course, most of the time positive and good and productive and helpful and loving in her own way, but she had hidden in the drawer resentment and hate through how her father, because I know that, how her father, that was never addressed and never cured, how her father treated them, what he did to them, what kind of childhood they had, and probably a few other things. So you have to square your people towards you actually feeling resentful, negative, and bad, because you cannot progress in life. You cannot be successful and rich truly, or healthy, especially if you don't give up people, if you just not let the past, let it go, address it, relieve yourself from there. If church never help you, then look for meditation, yoga, or some other alternative. I mean, the internet is loaded with that kind of stuff, and I'm encouraging you to do it, because all of us, each of us, have something hidden from the past. And that guy actually was saying, John Christopher, he was shocked. He thought he loved people and everything was great. But the guy who interviewed and helped him to cure him, he was digging out what was the cause, because they practiced the alternative medicine, and he discovered how many revenge and hateful feelings he had back to his history of childhood, school, and all that process has to be brought back to his memory and forgiven. So this was much more longer than I thought, but I think it's absolutely cracking the code, and it helps. It must help. It is so incredible. Wrap it up and can enrich and improve your life. So focus on the right habits, develop them because it's worth it, and once they are developed, do it 30 days challenge, whatever is that. No fat, no sugar, no alcohol, no cigarettes. When you resist something, it's hard to just rely on your strong will, unless you have proved yourself that you have this strong will and you can rely on it. I have that, and I did it. But oftentimes you can deceive your subconscious mind, and you can implement few new steps, and by repetition for 30 days, it is the law of the nature. The nature fixes everything into habit. After 30 days, you're going to be amazed how your life changed into many areas of your life if you just implement that. Repetition is the success to become as someone new. When we change, everything changes. And this is what it's about. When we change, everything changes within, on the outside, and the world is changing. You cannot change the world unless you change yourself. Slavo, Oslo Real, cracking the code.